Let's see if it works in here. All right. Stream is up. All right, sweet. We fixed it.
Okay, we are back.
Because I'm in the... All right. I don't know why I'm here. I'm reading these quests. I'm just kind of picking them up as I go along. Oh, sweet. A monkey. You get a monkey. What? Dude, this watermelon bomb is a trinket. It's like I have a watermelon as a trinket. That's freaking awesome.
That is interesting.
It's pretty sweet.
I'm liking a lot of the new items that they're coming out with. I know that a few people who do World of Warcraft podcast just got some in-game items that are coming out in this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the guys from the instance, their crew just got a whole set of items.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I believe Terpster the Shaman got his own shield.
Really?
Gerp, Scott, also known as Scott Johnson, he got his Gerp's perfect arrow is a trinket, an agility trinket.
Really? And that's actually in the game?
That is in the game.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Yep.
What do you know?
And I believe there's one, I forgot his name because he just got back. And he got a set of pants. I forgot his name, and I forgot his item's name. I'm sorry.
You're not talking about Randy Jordan, are you? I mean, he's not part of that anymore. But I didn't know.
No.
Whoa.
But yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool that they're still continuing to recognize those people that are putting it out.
Oh yeah.
And getting the game out there.
Yeah, that's really sweet. That's kind of cool, though. You'll see that, and certain people get that. When they see that, certain people see that and be like, oh, and hey, I know that guy. I know who he is. And
yeah, I know that guy. I know who he's talking about right now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, other people will be like, who the hell?
Yeah. It'll just be another item to them at that point in time.
Right. I think Blizzard's doing some remodeling with this area because it seems to be pretty slow, but my latency is fine. I know I talked to the guy earlier. The Jade Forest is actually down.
That is closed.
Yeah, because Blizzard's doing something over there. I have no idea what the hell they do over
there. I've heard some speculation that either they're doing something really big with it, or they're just shutting it down because they force people, because Jade Forest has been open since Mississippi data came out.
Right.
So there's possibilities either they're doing something drastic with it, or they're trying to force people into the later content because the Jade Force has been tested.
Right.
They've gotten a lot of feedback from the Jade Forest, and so I think now they're just going on and saying, okay, guys, this is done. We're going to put you guys into the next area, and we want you to test that content now.
That makes sense. I don't know. How long have I been playing without auto loot on? I need to know that. For some reason I did not have auto loot enabled.
Yeah, that's happened to me before. You start playing on a character you haven't played in for a long time, and you just downloaded some new add-ons, and your auto loot is not on. Or when you transfer a character, I just transferred my rogue lately and started questing, and was wondering why none of the items that I needed were dropped, and I didn't auto turn on. So, did you hear about another big improvement? I don't know if is it area looting?
Yes. That's been in for a while now. Actually, whenever I first started.
I haven't not been in the beta at all, so I'm kind of like a little ways out there, but I am very excited about that because I don't know how many times I've ran into the Scarlet Monastery to get my Scarlet Monastery tabard,
right?
And I have to sit there and individually loot every single one of those mobs at the very end.
Yeah, and it's just one of those, it's not like those major importance things, but it's just one of those things that helps. It's like there's some little things like that make the game better, which I think, it's long overdue. It's very long overdue.
It definitely is. I mean, the game has been out for quite some time now, and they finally go, all right, look, guys, you want this? I'll give it to you.
Right. Well, a lot of other games have implemented it, and I think we finally just caught up with that. They just caught that curveball. So
there's certain things, where like some of the newer games that are coming out have things that WoW doesn't.
Right.
Some of the newer games also have things that WoW does not have. So it's kind of that weird plane where, these two different games that you're going to be playing on, you like them for different reasons. obviously.
And you totally just contradicted yourself, by the way. You said other games have things that WoW doesn't twice.
Did I?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to fix that.
Why are you going to put me on stuff like that? All right.
John Blast.
I really hope that people know what I'm saying, what I'm getting at here.
Right, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
What the hell is this? Oh, that's awesome. I have a skill on my rogue that I forget what it does now, actually. But no, I don't. While I'm in stealth, it's like a 20-yard circle around me, and it stealths all my party members for a certain period of time.
Huh.
That's actually pretty nifty.
That is pretty cool.
Dude, these things are crazy. I'm fighting these little vermin dudes, kind of like the giant mutant bunny steroid hamster demon pig that I fought in the brewery.
Those are some interesting looking ones, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
That's something you don't see in any other content.
Yeah. I really like what they. I mean, I'm playing on my graphics. They're like at a good quality now for some reason. Ever since I hopped in here, I guess because of the number of people, the quality's been slipping a little bit. But for the most part, you know, it looks really, really good. It looks a lot better what they did with shading and texturing and stuff like that. So they've done a good job at it. I mean, you know, Blizzard. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you first. I said it first.
All right. I was gonna say I really like what they're doing with the environment. They're kind of bringing out that whole the panda theme. They're really hitting on that hard with the way the buildings look. I think they look awesome.
Yeah.
Just everything seems to just look amazing in this content right now.
Right.
And that's really cool. I really like the music that they're coming out with too.
Yeah.
The intro music. It's like 7-something minutes long.
Oh yeah.
But I sat through and listened to the entire intro music to the login screen.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you, dude, I'm a sucker for music in the game. If you can put good music in a game, you will get my dick hard.
Yeah, I mean that game is just it becomes so crazy because it just really puts you in depth in the game.
Right.
I mean I know a lot of players, you know, they'll be listening to, you know, sometimes I listen to podcasts when I'm listening to music, but I mean sometimes I just turn up the music and listen to in-game audio because it is fantastic and it really puts you into the mood for playing.
Exactly.
I feel.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, you know. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I don't mean to talk. I don't mean to bash the game at all because obviously, you know, I've been playing this game for a while. But there have been certain points. I'm sure every WoW player has reached this where you get to a point where you're just, you know, you're kind of tired of it. Yes. And you want certain things to be different. And you're like, oh, I wish this would happen, and I wish this. And I'm not going to go into detail about it because, you know, we've all been there. But It's nice because at the same time, there's been, you know, it seems like those instances where something you want to change. I know personally, Netramos and I actually have a running joke that Blizzard has a mic implanted into our computers for our Skype conversations, and I'm about to die. Awesome. But because we had always talked about, you know, oh, how cool would it be if they did this? I remember before they came out with faction changes, we had talked about, you know, Blizzard lets you pay for server changes, but they don't let you pay for this. I said, how awesome would that be if, you know, they did this? And then, you know, sure, and then we go and end up quitting, and then it seems like they're like, oh, hey, we're losing 2 more subscribers, throw out the faction change, we've been waiting for this one. And just, they've been doing that with a lot of stuff. Like, I've been talking about, you know, how frustrating it is to have half an heirloom set on a Horde character and half an heirloom set on an Alliance character. And, you know, it's got to the point where I couldn't level anything else because, you know, I didn't want to farm the content for the points. And sure as shit, guess what they come out with? Oh, you can now mail your shit across factions. It's just, they're coming out with those little gimmicks. I mean, they're careful. They're careful to not overload you with content. Like, you know, granted, waiting for a patch to come out it can get a little tedious. You know, you're like, oh, I wish they would come out with new content. But it seems like they found that perfect mixture where it's like, hey, you know, people are starting to get bored and starting to get frustrated, so let's throw something new and spicy out and get their dick hard about it. And it's just,
and I mean, it gets super excited when the new content.
And it's ultimately why that company is just so successful. I mean, you know, people talk crap about Blizzard all the time, but they're geniuses. I mean, really, they are. They wouldn't be doing what they're doing. They wouldn't be making this kind of money and making these games if they didn't know what they were doing. So they just, I think it's all carefully planned out. I mean, they know what they're going to do. You know, 3 moves ahead. So.
Yeah, I mean, WoW. I mean, the Blizzard, they always seem to be on top of their game too. I mean, because they've been using. I know a lot of games now they're free to play. A lot of games are free to play. Oh, yeah. And the games make their money by in-game purchases. Like, you know, you can buy certain items, you can buy certain amounts inside of a game. But Blizzard seems to have always stuck with their payment plan, and it works for them.
Right.
And people subscribe and people pay to play this game because of what they do, how well they do the game. people are willing to spend that money to play the game. And, they do now have, there's in-game mini purchases. You can buy, some mount pads and stuff like that, but it's nothing major. You don't need to rely on spending additional money to be inside the content. You don't have to buy gear. I mean, and I'm really happy about that, because I know there's other games where you can spend money to get the top tier gear. Whereas here, you spend time in the game and you earn your gear. And when you finally do get that, it makes you feel a little bit proud about yourself. Hey, I earned this.
Exactly. I can't. They changed this boss since the last time I've been in here. I think I'm doing. What am I doing? Jade Temple or something like that? Oh, Temple of the Jade Serpent. Sorry, I'm retarded. But yeah, definitely. I mean, there's the big. There's always. Blizzard's always got that threat. There's always people that advertise the WoW killer. And not to stray too far off the subject on a different game, but one game that completely fell on its face, in my opinion, I actually played the game itself. If you remember, Warhammer Online.
Yes.
Because they advertise themselves as a WoW killer. And that's just, you don't do that. Like, whether you think your game has good graphics or not, whether you think you're going to be able to pull people, you don't advertise that, because you're ultimately setting yourself up for failure. You're put on this high pedestal that a game that's been out, for 3 months, if it doesn't live up to the standard of a 5-year MMO with 15 million people subscribing right out of the box, people are going to instantly drop it. And ultimately, that's what happened to Warhammer. It died very, very quickly. I played it. I was not impressed. And Rift actually did that to a certain point. They didn't quite say that they were a WoW killer, but they advertised, this isn't we're not in Azeroth anymore. And Rift ultimately, I don't believe, I'm not going to say it fell on its face, because I don't know. I haven't followed it in a while. But I know from actually playing the game, I actually left WoW for Rift. It's the same thing, which is good and bad in some instances, but, they advertise dynamic events, and dynamic events is a real tricky subject, because you have to constantly have that player pulled into these random events, and Rift just didn't do that. They had a little bit here and a little bit there that they did, but ultimately it didn't live up to the promise. And I think that's a big thing in an MMO, is if you promise something, and Blizzard realizes this, you promise something, you have to commit.
You do.
And yeah. Go ahead.
I realize that too. I also, I left the game. I played Rift, and I liked it. I mean, it was a really fun, interesting game. And I believe they still have a steady subscriber base.
Right.
They're still doing their thing. I believe they have a couple million subscribers at this point in time. And they're still going strong to come out with a lot of new content. But they finally, like you were saying, how you're not in Azeroth anymore. They finally got away from that, I believe, and they're kind of taking the game and making it their own.
Right.
And that's really what makes a good game, because Blizzard doesn't try and make their games like other games.
Right.
They try to make it like World of Warcraft, and that's what they're going for. And so, in order to make a good game, people just need to make their game.
Right. So.
And so that's how it's a few games now are still keeping afloat, because they finally got away from that. They're not a Blizzard killer. They're not a WoW killer. They're just going to do their game and play their game.
Right.
And if people subscribe to it, people subscribe to it.
Man, this boss is tricky. You can't step in the water. I'm like on this platform, and he's like shooting a water bolt around, and you have to maneuver on these platforms. But every time you step into the water, you get like a 5k damage tick on it. And I can't believe I've been doing this. I've been playing this rogue the entire time without any poisons on my weapon.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm awesome.
Yeah, that is elite.
And I just go on. I went on this 20-minute binge about how much I love the rogue, and it was my first class played, and I enjoy it so much, and I can't even remember to put damn poisons on my weapons. And I'm not even going to make the excuse that it's in a different skill tab now. I don't have to have it in my bag. No, that's bullshit. I'm just retarded.
Yeah.
You don't agree with that. You're not supposed. No, you're supposed to back me. You're supposed to be like, no. You're supposed to be like, no, Epidor.
I think you're wrong there. I think that because of the changes, it's going to make it completely different.
There you go.
You to not have poisons on your weapon.
All right, I can see I'm not recovering from this, so we're just going to leave it at that.
Alrighty then.
What the hell? Okay, so where's the loot?
You don't deserve loot for that.
I definitely deserve loot. I killed him.
I mean, but I think, remember how we were just talking about the whole microphones and the computer thing?
Right.
They heard you, and they said, yeah, this guy didn't put his poisons on.
Yeah, well, I looted the loot. I didn't get the loot, but I looted the loot.
Oh, there you go.
What do we got here? We got wound, crippling, mind-numbing, and deadly.